What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us today. Yet another edition of Throwback Thursday. Jeff, I know you've been enjoying the content as much as I've been enjoying digging through and putting it all up and together.
I'm not gonna lie. I was trepidatious watching this, especially my stuff. I hate watching my stuff, you know that. But it's been interesting to go back and watch it because, as I said, I become less of a dick as the shows go on Talk Wrestling, which is thank God I did because the first show was so bad. But man, you have been like reaching into the vault, man. I almost feel like I want to grab Mickey Mouse on SNL. I'm like, no, protect the content. They didn't sell. So man, such good stuff to watch, and today is no exception, sir.
Yes, thank you once again to Aaron Rift of the NoDQ YouTube channel, James Hebert of the JH95/FTW Productions, Noel Foster from the Simple Man brand, and of course, you, good sir, for the
Yes,
Jeff Meacham Network, for allowing me access to all the content that was previously discussed in private
yes,
amongst all of you guys, because there are limitations about what can and can't be posted, but
yeah. Unfortunately,
especially a big thank you once again to Aaron Rift for allowing me access to the no DQ stuff. That stuff has really helped make the process and the Throwback Thursdays succeed and thrive, I think.
absolutely.
Sit back, relax, everybody, enjoy as we bring to you yet another week of Throwback Thursday content.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
No DQ Galaxy, we are back here with the No DQ review, and I am Virtue, and I am joined by this esteemed review panel, if you will, and I want to start with Jexy. Jexy, how's it going today? Another week has passed already.
Yeah, another week has passed, another day, another dollar. Can't complain. Doing pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. And if anybody's wondering, Jexy sounds a little bit different because, tell them why.
My phone decided it wanted to go play in the snow. So I got my nifty little headphones in to try to compensate for the fact you can't hear me.
But you're still here, and that's all that counts. Aaron Rift, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to be on here today. I think this video will be more entertaining than Monday Night Raw. We'll see how that goes. I think that's almost a given considering we got Jexy here, we got you, Virtue, and of course we got the man from Staten Island, Big Vito. How's it going, Vito?
Everything is going good, Jexy. Thank God you live with your mom. You got some earphones, a warm meal, a good place to sleep. Your mom made the VIP party again. I'll see if I can throw a coupon at Best Buy to get you a new phone. I got you, girl. I got you all the time. But good to be here at the No DQ panel review with my peoples. We got some good subjects to talk about. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to finish off the show strong. Virtue, go ahead and lead us away.
All right, well, there's a few things I could talk about first, but let's do this. Alexa Bliss promo on Raw, Kurt Angle, and I was sitting there scratching my head because she brought up a sexist angle. And so first of all, let's do our homework. We just came off of the very first ever women's Royal Rumble match. Stephanie McMahon is all about the women's revolution. WWE clearly says the women are already equal to the men. Why bring this angle up at the expense of Kurt Angle nonetheless? Now, maybe it's because Alexa's a heel and she's trying to get cheap heat, but I just think it's a weird placement because I think Alexa Bliss is better than having to resort to the sexism angle. And I don't know, it might just have been a one-off on Raw and we won't hear about it again. So I want to hear each one of your thoughts. Do you think WWE is going to make something out of this? Or was it just something they tried and then maybe it'll disappear after Raw? Aaron, what's your thoughts on that? I was not a fan of it.
Well, I wasn't either. I thought it was a really bizarre segment. I did think it was one of the more interesting parts of Raw, though. I'm not really sure if she's a heel or not, or if she's going to be a face, because later on the show she came out and helped Mickie James. So what's going on with that? I don't know at this point. The whole thing's just really strange. They might just drop the whole thing next week. I really don't know. Jexy, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was a little bit bizarre. But there's been so much going on in the media. Like, we just had the big blow up with the whole Doritos thing. It was obviously a joke, but saying they were going to start making ladies Doritos. So I think at the same time, they're kind of capitalizing on something that is a heated issue in reality. It is a little bit below her. She's a strong woman. She doesn't have to go out and say that to get that point across. But I kind of do hope that it is a one and done. It was stale, and it didn't really serve much of a purpose as far as, other than saying, do you really want to see Alexa defend her title, which of course you do.
Yeah, well, what's it accomplishing? Is it going to make people more invested in the women's storyline? I mean, I talked about this on my live video with that segment. I think that if the writing was better, it could turn out to be a really interesting storyline. But the writing is so poor on Raw that the whole thing was just a mess. And when it was all said and done, I wasn't a fan of either person when it was over. I don't know who to root for. I mean, Virtue, what were you going to say about it?
So when it happened, Kurt Angle came out to the ring, right? And he was stumbling over lines. He even admitted it. He couldn't even get lines. And then when Alexa came out, she kind of stumbled at the beginning. To me, they clearly weren't sure. They didn't sell it to themselves to do this promo.
Yeah.
And maybe Vito, maybe I'm just overanalyzing it. That's what I saw. And then, like I said, when it was done and I heard the word, sexist, and I was like, that was awkward. I kind of went back and I analyzed it more, and it made sense. I don't think Angle or Alexa Bliss were comfortable doing that promo, or they just thought it was crap. What's your thoughts?
When you don't put things in your own words and you have a very strong, what's the word you want to use here? A very strong conviction, products you're trying to get over, an assumption, trying to make a point, okay? Now, they have been trying to get the women's revolution over to be as top tier as the men. Alexa Bliss coming out and asserting herself, well, why doesn't Brock Lesnar have to come out here every week? Why doesn't are the men, better than the women? I thought we were all equal. It could have went off like that, but when it came up in a sexist way, that's when you brought in social media, politics, and you got away from the wrestling angle and wrestling 101 basic psychology. We want the women to be relevant just like the men. Why isn't Brock Lesnar here every week like I am? And what's the matter? You think I'm beneath Brock Lesnar? I'm just as good as Brock Lesnar. I am a world champion. The thing where she helped out Mickie James, now you remember she's in the Elimination Chamber. Alexa Bliss does not have a single friend in the whole company. She had to befriend somebody. Right. Why not go back to an old alliance like Mickie James? Mickie James was getting this shit kicked out of her. Here comes Alexa Bliss making the save. Now she looks like a big hero. I got you, girl. I got you. I got you up into the Elimination Chamber when I eliminate you in the last piece to the puzzle. So you see the good heel in Alexa Bliss trying to be a baby face, but she's going to turn out to be the heel. I think the political thing in it with, the sexism in it, it was stated, but it came across better in their own words, because when you have to go scripted, it doesn't come out as good.
Right.
If they could just be their own people, it would have been a better promo.
Absolutely. I agree on that. And I think if they were allowed to say what they really wanted to say, Kurt Angle could have said, Brock Lesnar is a bigger draw, bottom line. He's the guy that sells tickets, and he's a big celebrity. That's why he only has to appear every once in a while. But Kurt Angle can't say that. He has to give the lame scripted response, which just made him look bad. That's just how I saw it.
You want to know something, guys?
Yeah.
What would happen if you really take this, and I'm bringing this up because this is something that would have been really cool. What happens if Alexa Bliss would have said, you know what, Kurt? Next week on Raw, I want a match against Brock Lesnar, title for title.
That would have been interesting.
Now, you're talking, okay, I'm the Women's Revolution. I'm here to step up. And the first time Brock went to go hit her, the whole dressing room of women came out to friggin' go and take her back. Yeah. You just made a stand and you just made a revolution.
I love that idea. I think that would be really cool. Something nobody would see coming, completely out there, and that would generate interest. That would be a water cooler moment where you would have fans calling their friends saying, hey, you got to check out Raw next week. Alexa Bliss just challenged Brock Lesnar. That would be ratings. You're thinking like somebody who's trying to get people turning into the show. I love it. I think it's a great idea.
Now, what you have is, and Jexy, I want you to go and talk after me on this one. Being that her buddy is Braun Strowman and she steps to Lesnar, this gives the rub to friggin' Strowman to come out and make the save for all the women and him to be the biggest baby face in creation since Hulk Hogan. And now you got an angle that you can't have. Now remember, WWE Creative, you're listening here at the No DQ panel. You're welcome. Use it, because we already know you're going to put the belt on Sami Zayn to annoy Vince Russo. So go ahead and steal this and use what you got. Jexy, what do you got to say?
Yeah, no, 100%. That would be beautiful. That they're already teaming together in the Mixed Match Challenge. You're pushing to get him over even more as a babyface. Why would you not do that? Why would you do anything other than that? I mean, it's only going to get more people behind him. And who doesn't want to see, the rise of the women in that, respect anyway? Yep. Kind of a little bit like what Aaron said, though. Does it bring more to the women's revolution as far as people getting behind it with what they're doing right now based on that promo?
Right.
Yes and no, but not exactly, because you have enough people out there still that, have this delusional conception in their mind that women should only be eye candy, that they should only be managers. So to change that, even with everything that we've already done, with all the ground that we've already broken, all the firsts that we've already had, some of that's just a mindset that you're not ever going to change.
I agree on that.
And Bliss, is this true? She has not defended that title since October. I don't know how true that was, but Angle said that.
Yeah.
So Heyman could come out and say, well, Brock's defended at least once since you've defended your title, and he can cut his little promo. It could be a big, again, they can get their way out of it, Vito, but it could be great draw, great hype. I like that.
I think so. And like if Jexy needs a manager, I could always be her manager. And then we're like, we got something going here. Pavarotti of hard shots to the body. I got a new upstart, a new, a rookie sensation coming in, breaking in. First day on the job, she gets a roll up win. She's jumping all around. I'm going, calm yourself. It's just a roll up, right? You got no finish, girl. It's a roll up.
I like it.
Well,
Okay.
I don't want to talk too much about that women's elimination chamber match yet, because obviously we have to get to that. Aaron will do the preview video for that.
Yes.
But let's jump to the men's. Now, we have 5 of the 6 participants that are set for it after Monday Night Raw. We have Braun Strowman, correct me if I'm wrong, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Elias, and The Miz.
Yes.
The 6th person is going to be from all the losers of the matches, right, Aaron? They're going to get a second shot. So, okay,
Yeah.
I want to know who everybody thinks is going to win that spot. And then, Vito, you brought up off camera a very good point here. They had Elias, Cena, and Strowman in a triple threat match. The winner gets the last pod. So a couple of things I have a problem with here. Why do we want to know ahead of time who gets the last pod? That takes a little bit of excitement from the match when it comes down to the last 2 guys where they do the lights from the overhead. And on top of that, they don't have everybody in the match yet. So how fair is it to let those 3 guys randomly compete for that last spot? To me, it was a cluster. We didn't know what to do, and they just came up with that last minute. Aaron, what's your thoughts on that whole scenario? Who could be the 6th person? And the fact that they let those 3 compete for the last spot.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on what you just said about the whole logic there. Why is Roman Reigns not getting an opportunity for that last pod spot? Why is The Miz not getting that opportunity? I mean, the 6th person, they're getting a second chance, so they really don't deserve that last spot. But Reigns and Miz should be irate that they're not getting that last pod spot. The whole thing just doesn't make any sense, but it's typical WWE where they're just throwing something out there, just hoping something will stick. Vito can come up with way better ideas than what WWE's creative team is coming up with. I wish we had storylines, because I feel like I watch Raw and there's no storylines. The few storylines we do get, like Enzo and Nia Jax, that just got ended because of Enzo getting fired. And then we had the Seth Rollins, Jason Jordan storyline, which now has been at least temporarily ended because Jordan got injured. And other than that, what storylines do we have in WWE right now? Tell me one. I mean, Vito, what do we got in WWE right now?
Right now, I think we're in a flux, and I don't think they have a direction of what they're doing, because either guys are hurt, guys are out. We'll bring up first what you just said about Enzo, right? Enzo was leading the 205 Live thing, and he was the main cog of making that run. He had this incident with a young lady where she accused him falsely of something. We don't know, but nobody has heard anything from Enzo or the police or nothing. He wasn't charged. He wasn't done wrong. So why did they fire him? Rich Swann, there's another guy, still not reinstated. Okay, so you just killed off 2 guys that you needed, who you were building major storylines around. This 6th person for this elimination chamber. Why put 3 guys that are already in the match? Why are you putting Cena and Strowman, and then you add Elias? Okay, Elias stole one. You still got 1 spot left. Now, you're not going to put Cena in there. You're not going to put Strowman in there. Who's going to be? What are you going to put? Bray Wyatt? You're going to put
Finn Balor.
Apollo Crews.
No. Finn Balor's not even a consideration right now, because you got Matt Hardy and you got Bray Wyatt. You got who else is there? You got The Miz. You got Roman Reigns, right? You got Seth Rollins. You got a whole slew of guys to pick from for the Elimination Chamber. Right now, you need somebody athletic. You need somebody who can move. Somebody who can do something. Somebody who doesn't have a title, because you don't need a title to bring in this match, because you are the hunted, not the hunter.
Well, no, Vito, Aaron, aren't they taking the losers from the previous qualifying matches and putting them into the match?
Yeah, that's the match on Raw next week. It's Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt, and Apollo Crews, I think.
And Matt Hardy.
And Matt Hardy.
And
Four
Matt.
people.
So
There you go.
it's got to be one of them based on WWE.
But after Finn Balor got dogged by Cena, he's not going to go back in there. It would be ridiculous. Bray Wyatt just lost to who did Bray Wyatt lose to on Monday night?
Roman Reigns?
Oh, Roman. Yeah.
He lost
Roman
to
Reigns.
Roman, but he looked good, right? So he's got a strong. Finn Balor will look weak against Cena, and then Roman Reigns, I mean, he's been doing his thing. So is that his chance to get into the WrestleMania? Is that his spot? You know, are you going to make him win? Or are you going to put him in a different scenario? Is he going to win a title? Is he going to battle The Miz to get his title back and go to WrestleMania? There's so many different avenues, but I think it's a little jumbled and nobody could follow it because they don't have a direct storyline and they don't have nothing concrete. I think they just put that together on the fly with no going nowhere. Everybody knows right now you don't want to see Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. You want to see The Miz and Brock Lesnar. You want to see possibly Strowman and Brock Lesnar one-on-one, not in a triple threat. You want to see, you would love to see Bray Wyatt get a push. You would love to see Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy finally tag, like I said in the beginning when they first started this, and that's the obvious new next tag team champions to fight Sheamus and Cesaro.
I'd be all aboard for that.
You definitely need a team. It feels like there's no real credible team to go against the Bar right now.
There isn't, guys.
But yeah, the way I look at it, Jex, I want to ask you, so if they're going to put these 4 people that already lost qualifying matches in a match and the winner can still get in, they should just have somebody, like Kane should come back, or they should just have somebody else be that 6th person. Nothing against those guys, but if you're booked to lose and you don't get a qualifying match, now all of a sudden it's 2 eliminations, like a round robin. So what's your thoughts on that? Would you rather go like a veto route and have somebody completely different in that 6th spot, or typical WWE, let's just throw all the losers in a match and pick from them for that last spot? What do you think?
Yeah, if it was up to me, I think I would bring in somebody else who actually has already been involved. With some of them, Kane would have been a good choice. Given who we do have, my gut feeling says Finn, but I don't, even as big of a Finn supporter as I am, I don't really want to see that. Looking at everybody that's in that match, all of those guys are pretty big. And most of them are established main event superstars. I think I would rather see Matt, because he is a veteran. He would be able to go in there and strongly, not necessarily just put over the winner, but he could work that match to where it would make more sense. I think he would fit in a lot better. But it's a total lack of storyline. It's a total lack of thought process behind it. And that having that match on Raw, it made no sense. It really didn't make any sense at all.
I think we might see Apollo Crews win this. I think WWE is going to throw a curveball and have Apollo win. I just have this feeling.
Because he could be like a match starter. He could be like one of the first 2 guys going. And Aaron, that's not, I almost thought that. I just couldn't get myself to say it. I'm actually going to think they're going to go with Finn Balor. I mean, the one problem, I'm not a big Balor supporter, right? Because I can't see him against Brock. Vito, Aaron, we've all talked about this. But he was the Universal Champion and lost the title from injury, and he never got a rematch. And I hate holes in storylines. Yeah. So, and granted, this isn't even a title shot. It's a shot to get a title shot. So I think he, at least from that point of view, deserves to be one of those 6 guys. We know he's not going to win it. But again, I don't know.
We need stories. We need conflicts. Yeah. Finn Balor should be angry. He should be throwing chairs backstage and going on a rampage. We need conflict. That's what makes interesting television, when people are having a conflict over more than just wrestling matches. When they just go out there and have matches, it's boring. There needs to be conflict.
All right, you want conflict?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to tell you something like that what they should be done, and nothing that they won't ever do because they're not that creative. Remember WWE, you heard it here first. What happens if you put Brock Lesnar as the 6th man in this elimination chamber?
It'd be interesting.
Now,
make him work.
Now, Brock Lesnar can either win it and nobody get a chance, or you're putting over Strowman so he gets the chance at WrestleMania and he actually beats Brock after 6 guys after doing this, and he finally validates himself. Now you have a storyline. Now he beat the man in an elimination chamber. It doesn't affect Brock. He doesn't lose his title, so he could put over Strowman. Then when you get ready to go to WrestleMania, now you have the opportunity to throw a Roman Reigns in there to make it a 3-way main event.
Change it up.
And change it up. So if you enter Brock and he's in the last day and he's with Strowman, you put Strowman over, which, finally he needs to just to validate himself. Then somehow Roman Reigns gets butthurt, challenges Strowman, and then it becomes, okay, if you win this match against Strowman, you get the chance to go to WrestleMania being a 3-way. So now you still get Roman Reigns, you get Strowman, and you get Brock Lesnar. And if you're going to drop the title, it protects Brock Lesnar. He's not losing 1-on-1. He's losing 2 against 1. And you still have that open apple if they re-sign Lesnar and he comes back and wins the title again. And also gives credibility to the new champion to make a long run because there ain't nobody else that they got.
Exactly.
And Vito, you make great points there, and you were there. You were told what you had to go do in a storyline. So that's the credibility I love. And I'm telling you what, Vito, WWE should hire you again. But this time for a backstage role.
You know what, guys, and it comes from just being in a wrestling capacity. I've been in wrestling for almost 27 years, and I've worked with all the main companies. I've been behind the scenes. I've worked with the best. And this is something that's just inbred in me. I wasn't just some dumb jock going in to be a wrestler and be a drug addict and do this and do that and do the other thing. It was somebody who was a student, who absorbed, who learned, who actually worked backstage at different promotion and ran shows without being an egomaniac and saying, okay, guys, here's the main event. You're going over. Really, Vito? I said, yeah, you're going over. And then we have another group of guys who are going to kick the shit out of me so we can get another 6 guys over. And then there's a bunch of people to play with. Because if you don't play with anybody and you don't develop people, then nobody wants to see anything. It gets tiring to see one guy win. But if you see the babyface getting his ass kicked every week, and there was one time I was in the dressing, I was wrestling in Florida, and I said, okay, I said, Vito, really? I said, yeah, the lights are going to go out. 6 guys in masks are going to come out. They're going to give me a triple suplex, a double this, a triple that, and they're going to leave me laying. I didn't move out of the ring until the show was almost empty. And like women, moms, and people were actually, because I was just laid there in a dress. I got carried out of the ring at an indie show. And I went to the back. I didn't leave the building till 12 o'clock when there was nobody there. I stayed in the back. But that's the way you do it. You're going to put people over, you put them over. IHOP is open 24 hours a day. I got my egg whites, a couple pancakes. I was a happy camper, and I went home.
The art of selling, Vito. And I want to segue. So from that men's elimination chamber match, there are 2 guys that stick out like a sore thumb. No, I'm not going to say Roman Reigns, and I'm going to revert back to Raw. The 2 highlights on Monday Night Raw, in my opinion, because we've talked about this, how bad promos have been on SmackDown. There are 2 guys in the company that hold the crowd in the palm of their hand when they deliver promos, not named John Cena. The Miz and Elias. And I'm going to tell you, when I watch The Miz come out and cut a promo, people like The Miz, and that's hard when you're a heel and you're going to have like the smarks cheer for you, but yet he somehow, the eyes bug out of his head, he articulates words, and he gets that roar, the boo, like he can just work that crowd and still get that heel heat. Elias is the same way. He'll start with strumming the guitar. Everybody knows they're about to have a good time, listen to some strings, and then he says something. He turns that crowd. And it's unbelievable, and promos done that way, old school, being the heel, go a long way in the storylines. And I want to see Miz and Elias. Vito, like you said, it would be great to see Miz versus Brock Lesnar. So what if Elias won the Elimination Chamber? And I know it's a crazy statement because we're in the world of Roman Reigns. Jexy, what's your thoughts? I just think the Miz we know is a star, right? We know. he doesn't get treated as that top star like he should, but from what he gets, what's the saying, guys? Make chicken salad out of chicken crap.
Yeah.
Miz always does that because you can put him in the mid-card level with the Intercontinental title and he makes it look like it's something special. I see Elias in the same realm. Jexy, am I crazy? Am I just fanboying over these two? I love promos.
No, not at all. Those two absolutely stand on their own. They're so creative. Like you said, they can hold the crowd in the palm of their hand without even trying. I think when I look at those two guys, I see two people who talk authentically with things that they are coming up with on their own. I don't feel like they are giving a script and then being, repeating it. They're so authentic in what they say. And thinking about it, they're relevant too at the same time. The things that they talk about, they always keep it relevant. But can you imagine or possibly fathom them doing to those two guys what they do on SmackDown and having those little word bubbles come up?
Oh, man. Don't get me started on the word bubbles. Those word bubbles are terrible.
Well, now, Jexy, are you saying you like the word bubbles, or would you like what are you exactly saying with that?
No, I think it's horrendous that they do that, and it absolutely, like me and Aaron talked about the other day, it throws it right in your face that this is scripted.
Yes.
How you need to go out there and just make it seem seamless, and that you're passionate about it, and you're believing what you're saying, and you're wholeheartedly behind the words that are coming out of your mouth, because the crowd can tell, all of us can tell by watching it, whether somebody's behind it or not. We just talked about that with Alexa and Kurt.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Miz and Elias? And like I said, I just think promos go a long way, but at what point does it take for Vince McMahon, or those people that are in charge of the push to see it?
Well, I don't know how far it's going to take for Vince to really change. I mean, he is stepping away from 205 Live, apparently. It looks like Triple H has taken over with 205 Live, and I don't know if that's going to save the brand, but it'll at least give the fans of the Cruiserweight division what they want. They want to see stuff like the Cruiserweight Classic, so it's good for that, but it still doesn't fix the problem with everything else on Raw and SmackDown. And yeah, I'm not a fan of what happened on SmackDown with who came out there. Now I'm forgetting the person who came out there. Aiden English, that's right. And I like Aiden English too. I'm a fan of his, but when he's coming out there and singing, like, how do the guys in production know what he's saying out there in front of a live audience? You know what I'm saying? If it was a pre-taped, it would be a totally different scenario, but he's out there live, and it felt so forced and scripted. I wasn't a fan of it at all.
But even then again, Aaron, if you know how they used to tape SmackDowns, they never tried to make you think it was taped, though. So, like, even if they did that on a taped show, it's bad. Yeah. Because it's saying that in the back, they know what these guys are going to say. Vito, go for it, man. That's got it. I don't know if you watch SmackDown or not, or you've seen these Snapchat pop-ups or whatever they're called.
I've seen it.
Go for it, man.
I'm going to start off with the Elias and the Miz because that's what you start off with. Yeah. Now, when you talk about the Miz making a promo, he looks confident in what he's doing. That's why it comes across good. He has his bullet points, yes, but he makes his points. When you're Elias, now, you can't really have promos and a song in your head. Okay, I got to remember the words to this song. I got to remember the words to this promo, and I got to make sure I'm hitting the good chords on my guitar so I don't come off like an idiot, right? Now, that's three things you got to concentrate on. So you say, okay, Elias, these are the points we're going to have. You know, to make your pause, get the crowd, make the pause, play the music, make these points on your promo. So now he feels comfortable and he can put it in his own words and he can listen. And remember, we talked about this, working with the crowd, not calling your spots. Right. That's what Elias is doing. The Miz, he's got it down pat. He knows when he's got the crowd. He feels it. My hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. He's got it all down pat. So that's why those two come across so clean and confident in their promos. When you're talking about the SmackDown crew, you know, and they're coming up with these ridiculous bubbles and stuff, the Aiden English, and, you know, hey, listen, how do you know what he's going to sing and what he's got to go, what he feels? Yeah. So maybe in the back, all of us here do it. I could sing a song in the shower and it could sound beautiful. When I come out, it's going to come out different. I say, well, I didn't say that before, but this is a hell of a lot better. Or when you're singing karaoke, Sweet Caroline, you know, and I'm singing them, you know, you love me. I want to, I want to feel you. You know, I throw my own words in there. Everybody digs it, but it's not, you know, and I can say something different every time. It's feeling confident in what you're doing. You have your bullet points. That's what the guys are hitting who are making successful promos. When you see Roman Reigns do it, you know he scripted. Kurt Angle having to go word for word on the thing.
And he messed up.
Instead of saying, right, and he messed up, and you could see it, and he laughs about it. And he says, you know what, Alexa, you suck. You're not Brock Lesnar. Go back to the back. Go to the kitchen. Go get pregnant. Go sit there. Now, that would be a hell of a promo, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, friggin' Stephanie comes out, and who the hell are you talking to? I'm talking to you, Mom. Why don't you go sit back there and get on the headsets? I don't want to see your face.
That would be very entertaining.
Organic, Vito. Organic, natural, passionate, and not, you know, and Roman Reigns was very guilty of this early on, and maybe still to a point. They feed him the lines, and he loses that credibility when he talks sometimes. And you didn't see that with Stone Cold. You didn't see that with The Rock, Mick Foley, Triple H, Vito LaGrasso. I mean, what happened? Yeah.
Now, I told you guys, when I did my stuff in WCW, they gave me bullet points. I never practiced line for line. Anytime I made a promo and I did stuff, I did my own promo because I can come across sincerely and talk about it. Vito, this is what we wanted to talk about. Okay, I got it. Let's go. And it was sometimes with one take Jake. And was that good? Vito, that was perfect. Okay, I'll see you later. I'm going back to catering.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jexy. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's quite all right. You didn't interrupt me. On an unrelated note, I think another group that's really coming into their own, even though it is obviously scripted, is the Usos.
Yes.
When they're doing their back and forth, they're so themselves. That is authentically who they are in the way that they talk, in the way that they communicate, even though it is scripted. But watching it, I could very easily be led to believe that they are just coming up with it off the top of their head, even though you know that they're not.
Yeah.
But they're definitely coming into their own when it comes to giving strong promos, I think.
I agree on that. Their delivery.
I disagree with both of you.
Oh, okay. Well, Virtue, go ahead and say something. At least we didn't have the whole the jail cell graphic being superimposed.
Yeah,
that was awful last week, and that was like the worst thing to do, especially with the recent arrest of Jey Uso. Virtue?
They're fabulous in-ring workers, and their matches in 2017 were some of the best in WWE. So I want to, right off the bat, good job to the Usos. But ever since they started talking, it's so thuggish, and if that's the gimmick, I'm fine. But I keep thinking of Crime Time, and you know what? But I guess it's working. I mean, Aaron, Jexy, you're thinking this is great. So me not liking this promo, and a couple of my buddies will tweet each other and text each other while they're doing it, and we're just like, oh man, this is awful.
Well, you're just not hip, Virtue. That's
I guess let's have a tiebreak.
Are in touch. At least I am, maybe a little bit. Jexy more than me, probably. But
not a tiebreak, but let's see if Vito. What are your thoughts on the Uso promos? I think they suck. And I don't care if people bash me in the comments. I really don't. Wow. Now, I don't think the Usos suck. I just think the way they do their promos, to me, it doesn't sell to me.
All right, now, you're comparing them to Crime Time, and Crime Time was another era where they started to come out. I believe they were the first thuggish gangster group that came out of WWE, where they really took two hoodie black guys and made them try to be gangster. Now, John Cena came out gangster because he came out with the rap as a white guy, but then you have Crime Time come out and they tried to be gangster at the time. Now, when you talk about gangster from the South, you're talking about Mustafa and New Jack when they were in Jim Cornette's brand and down in Memphis, where they almost got lynched by the hillbillies because there were two gangsters talking against the white folk, and the white folk were still hanging the black folk in the hills, and that was the way it was but it got heat. Now you're talking about the Usos coming in. Now they're being thuggish, but this thug is what's in today and in style. That's the trend. So when you see them come out with the dress, the look, the hair, the tattoos, and they come out with this lango, and they come out with that, thuggish 2000 era, mobster guy, that's the in thing. You don't have to be black to be a gangster. You're being the Usos and you're being gangster. You're talking about penitentiary. You're talking about hip hop. You're talking about Tupac, Biggie. They're still bringing up the documentary. Who killed these mofos? That's still up. So you put that in the same sentence, and they got that certain era about that question, that sexiness. That's what they got, guys. So you can't, if you don't like it because it's not your type, that's your opinion as a fan. But is it getting over for the people? Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's different. It's a different lingo. Well, Rusev Day for the Rusev fans, right? And English coming out and singing it's Rusev Day and they're going up. That's for the fans who like that. If you're talking about Breezango, they could go back. The Ascension, go back. Who else is there that cuts promos? You're tired of Sami Zayn. You're tired of Owens. AJ Styles is not really great on the stick, right? Shane McMahon cuts a great promo. Daniel Bryan has his own knack for getting over. So everybody's got their own persona, guys. You can't kill something that's working. Yeah. And I understand your thing. I understand.
I think maybe you guys all think the Usos sound great on promos because SmackDown in general are bad on promos. But I'll give you that. You guys.
Oh, really?
No. I'm giving you it this week. You guys beat me on that one. All right. Maybe I got to go listen to some more Uso promos. Okay. I'll go do my homework.
You're even whiter than your shirt.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of SmackDown, there is a list, not a Chris Jericho list. See how I'm moving on and keep going? And here's my problem with it. So it's so randomized. Was this a top 10 list, Aaron? I didn't write them all down. I got the top 4.
Oh,
I do know that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens aren't on this list.
Well, because it's the guys in the locker room that are coming up with the list, and the storyline is that nobody likes Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So I guess that makes sense, right?
Okay. All right. So, with that said, number 4, I believe, was Naomi. Number 3 was Nakamura, Shin. Number 2 was Charlotte. Number 1 was AJ. So all of a sudden now Naomi is she the number 1 contender now? You know what I mean? I guess I'm over analyzing this list. I'm thinking of Eric Bischoff's list in TNA and WCW. Yeah. But here's the thing. If it's the women's revolution, and Jax, I want to start with you after I explain this. How can you make a list with women and men both in the same list and then have AJ guaranteed number 1? What makes him better than Charlotte as a champion? You know what I mean? And no matter who selected this list, that's my question. They should have had a top 5 guys, top 5 females. I looked at this list as so convoluted because women's revolution, but AJ Styles is number 1. Sorry, Charlotte, you're number 2. What do you think? I think it's stupid and it should go away. Jaxie.
I do. I think I guess at the same time, I don't quite understand it, where exactly they're going with it. They gave that list and I was kind of just like, okay, and then what? I guess you could kind of explain it because there's more men than there are women, so the men are going to vote more for men. I don't know. At the same time, when they gave the original parameters of what they were voting for or how they were voting, they said it as locker room leadership, which is confusing to me because I look at it in a couple of different ways. One, are there really friends in wrestling? You kind of sort of have allies until you're fighting each other or you're in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
But you really don't have friends. And in a different way, it messes up kayfabe for me. And what I mean when I say that is when you think of locker room leaders, you think of The Undertaker. Right. You think of Dusty Rhodes. Now, in truth, in the reality of all of that, when these guys are saying that The Undertaker was a locker room leader, Are they talking about The Undertaker? Was he backstage acting like the Phenom, like Dead Man Walking, like the American Badass? No. He was Mark Calloway. He was himself. He was authentically himself. Vito. When Vito was in the back, was he walking around like Vito? Or was he the genuinely kind, thoughtful person that he is himself? So where do you draw that line? Because are you saying that now they're coming out of character and you're looking at it as a backstage leader that way? Or, you know, there's too many feuds. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it.
I agree on that. I just don't understand the whole point of it, what it's supposed to be accomplishing, you know?
So I need any input. You think should they do it another way?
I have a question. Okay. Now, I'm not hip to the list. I know you brought it up. Now, this list was made up from whom, and what does it represent? It's just why I can answer it.
Well, apparently,
Jackson, go ahead, Aaron.
Apparently, it was, from what I'm understanding, and it still confuses me too. I'm assuming that it was the WWE talent that came up with the list for the top 10, and that's how it was brought together, and that's why Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were not on it. I really don't know. The whole thing was just dumb, in my opinion.
Now, if you have AJ Styles as number one, okay, let's go one by one. Yep. Okay, he's the champion. He's the leader. He should be number one because he's the face of the company because he's champion. Number two was?
Charlotte, the women's champion.
Okay, and that should be right because she is the top athlete and she is the top women's champion as number two. So number three?
Nakamura.
He's the number one contender and he just won the Royal Rumble. So that's why he got that spot in number four.
Naomi. And that's where I stopped writing the list.
Okay. Naomi, because she's a former champion, she probably has the most credibility out of everybody, out of the women. And then she probably is the number one contender. Plus, she's been a leader there, and she's been there for a long time. I think Natalie has, played her role and slid down. I don't see Bobby Roode on the top 10 or even in the top 15. You know what I'm saying?
I believe he did make that list, though.
What about Bob Roode? You talked about Bobby Roode. What about Bob Roode?
But I'm saying, like, you look at these guys, like, it went over my head. I really don't care.
That's what Aiden English called him on SmackDown.
Bob Roode.
Promo, yeah. Aaron loved it for some reason.
I don't know. It's that nerd thing.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
But guys, when you talk about the prominent people, now you talk about Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens not being recognized, they're in an angle, but they're not in the top spot as being representatives. Okay? So that's where you get that. So for the top four, I don't know who was in the top 10, but hey, the top four sounds pretty good if you're going by leaders and what's prominent, because that's what they're basing their company on right now. Nakamura and AJ going for the WrestleMania shot. You got Charlotte in there, and you got Naomi, which would probably be a title shot. So, I mean, they got it right, because when you look at the credibility of SmackDown, and then the Usos should have been in the top 10 as tag team champions. Then, who else is the other champion there? Bobby Roode. He should have made the top 10, but he's too new, and he's not relevant enough to be a stronger influence.
I think he might have actually made a top 10. Like I said, I only wrote down those top four.
Rusev did not make the top 10.
Yeah.
All right, now Rusev, right? And this is a guy.
Go ahead.
This is a guy who should be in the top 10, who should be relevant. He's got the crowd behind him. He's got the body. He's got the look. He was the top 10 before. Why he has fallen off the charts is anybody's friggin'. Why he gets beat, mind-boggling. When I see him lose, I want to take my 75-inch television and throw it through the wall, and I get so angry you have no idea, because this guy is a legit wrestler. He looks it. He acts it. And if he didn't have the Rusev gimmick where he's a babyface and bring him back as Rusev the Killer, that's fine too. But stop burying this guy. Stop it. It's just
it's the Zack Ryder treatment. He's getting that organic reaction from the crowd, and WWE doesn't like it apparently.
But hey, if Shane lead you to believe that what he says is true. He duly noted when everybody said Rusev Day.
Exactly, and then Rusev proceeded to lose, but of course that's a storyline.
And he got RKO'd. By the way, I believe Orton was number 9 on that list. And so, what's everyone's thoughts on the Orton gimmick now, coming out of nowhere? Like we know that, but like literally stealing people's thunder, like Bobby Roode's with RKO's. I'm gonna admit I like it. I think Orton, like Vito, you said Orton grew his hair out. He's trying to be, hip, younger Orton. One more run of, being relevant. And I remember 3 years ago, the RKO rest of the videos where everybody was getting RKO'd. They'd superimpose Randy Orton on a video that went viral. And I always thought back then WWE should have capitalized. I know Orton was like in a heel role then, so it's probably why they didn't do it. But look at the reactions it's getting from a move that supposedly John Laurinaitis created, Diamond Dallas Page perfected, and Randy Orton turned into the RKO. It's a classic move in wrestling. I'd like to see this go somewhere. Quick thoughts before we get to the main event on Randy Orton's. Are they going to keep doing it? Jexy, I'll start with you. He's popping the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they definitely will keep doing it. I like to see it. It's surprised me every time he's done it so far. And we did kind of touch on it a little bit, but yeah, it was around a few years ago. Should they have capitalized on it back then? Yeah. Did they? No. Am I cool with it going forward? I like it. I think it has a little bit of charm, some funny charm to it.
I agree on that. I think it's pretty cool, and maybe it's leading to a big WrestleMania match for Orton. Who knows? I mean, I would think that. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead. No, I'm listening.
Aaron was done.
I'm pretty much done. I'm going to have a sip of my
lotion. Have you a sip, but you want to know what would be great? Like you said, Aaron Jeske, it is the greatest thing that's going around. But you really want to put it in perspective and really make it prominent. What happens if he RKO's Vince McMahon in the back through a table? Now you just set up a Shane McMahon versus Randy Orton WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
Well,
and
Vince got
Randy
beat up too recently.
like
That's
that.
the only problem with that, I think, because Vince just got beat up by Kevin Owens fairly recently. So I don't know how much of an impact that would make, but certainly Orton could get in Shane's face or do something to.
Yeah, but you're talking about that would be like me coming over there, giving you an RKO in your living room, taking over the controls, messing up the whole podcast.
The comments just went viral right there,
Right, then me changing my name to the administrator of the group and then running away. I mean, it'd be great.
We should make Vito in charge of the no DQ forums. That would really shake things up.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that on the plugs. Randy Orton had a fantastic match at WrestleMania 31 against Seth Rollins with one of the best finishes of a match I've ever seen. When Seth went to do the curb stomp and it turned into an RKO. He had one of the worst WrestleMania matches in recent memory last year against Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in New Orleans as a fan and, maybe a analyst for NoDQ, Aaron, for WrestleMania this year. I'd like to see Randy Orton have something significant this year. So we'll see what happens. Maybe these RKOs will once again go viral. We'll see. With that said, is everybody ready for the main event?
I'm ready, brother.
And I think we've talked about it at Raw 25. We always seem to bring them up here and there, but we never elaborate. And I want to elaborate on, Jackson, you brought him up earlier, Mark Calloway, The Undertaker. So last year, Roman Reigns defeated him, in what maybe was just, an average main event. But the story, it still got the point to this was Roman's yard. Taker put his gear in the ring and walked away. Now, with that said, the headliner for this year's, help me out here, Hall of Fame, Goldberg. So we know Undertaker's not being inducted.
Right.
The speculation is Undertaker versus John Cena. Now, that promo Undertaker cut on Raw at the Manhattan Center was nothing. It's very cryptic, like basically, I'm done. Everyone that I laid to rest in peace, rest in peace. With that said, I want everybody's thoughts on, is it past Undertaker's expiration date? If not, how does he make something memorable at this year's WrestleMania as to not really make last year? And I know it doesn't matter, Aaron, because Rock and Cena, once in a lifetime, it happened the next year, right? So, Jexy, I'll start with you. Undertaker at WrestleMania. Is it still needed at this point? or can't we find the next guy to become that, WrestleMania mystique? I think that's kind of where I'm torn between. You know what I mean? Because he's done it for so long. He has nothing to prove. Go ahead.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything to prove. It as a fan, it is hard for me as well because I grew up on The Undertaker. You know, in 1994, I picked up a magazine that had The Undertaker on the front, fell in love. I was so taken back by this guy and thought he was the coolest thing in the world. And his legacy speaks for himself. I don't think that it does anything. I mean, okay, if you bring it back to put a guy over, why? It kind of tarnishes his legacy in a way. And at the same time, last year, as you said, when he put his coat and his hat in the ring, I felt like that was very symbolic and very important in a very special moment. I really don't want to see him come back in some ways. I kind of just want to let him go and let him come out and talk, let him make his appearances, let him, if he comes back to put a guy over again, like I said, what does it prove? It doesn't really prove anything. I don't think it serves to help build that person up when you could be putting two guys together and allowing them to get themselves over and creating something new and creating new history instead of relying on somebody that we already know is going to be in the Hall of Fame, who's already,
Now, Jaxie, last year, however broken down his body was when he had that match with Roman, maybe deep down inside, Vito, you're going to know this better than anybody. He might not have thought that's how he wanted to go out. Nothing against Roman, nothing against Taker. Maybe just at that particular time he did everything he could, but it came across as, wow, I could have done better if I was just a little bit healthier. And at this rumor with Cena, do you think WWE, and maybe this is John Cena and The Undertaker thinking this, do you think they could have in their mind like The Rock versus Hogan type, let's shock the crowd? I mean, because I'm really confused why this is a speculated match, and if it happens, I'm going to be even more confused, like, why? So, Vito, like, what's your thoughts? Like, do you think he really needs to come back? Is it just WWE trying to get that WrestleMania pop? Does he really want to just stay in the spotlight? I mean, you know him, right?
I wrestled him in 1992 in Nassau Coliseum with Paul Bearer as his manager. Classic. If you guys remember or ever look up the very first rap video that ever came out for the WWF, it was the Slam Jam video. If you ever find it, I'm the guy taking the clothesline from The Undertaker in the singlet, black and red. You'll see me taking the jumping clothesline. I know The Undertaker for a very long time, and being a wrestler for a long time and then knowing when your time is up or you can't, everybody still thinks they can do it at the same way they did it before. And that is a pride thing. And it's hard to let go. And when something happens physically where your body breaks down, you say, I know I could do this. I know I could do this. I know I could do this. But when you're not doing it every day like you used to, your body doesn't react the same way as it does if you're doing it one time, in a year and every year. Now, you could be working out in your ring at home. I know he has a ring at home, and I know he trains, but you're not doing it like you used to. You don't have that oomph to get up and do this stuff. Your workouts in the gym can be great. Your cardio on a machine could be great. But being in wrestling shape, you're not in wrestling shape. Now, Cena and Undertaker in the same ring, would that be a match you want to see? Yeah, 50-50. Will it have The Rock and Hogan? No, because it's not built up. And they're both going in two separate directions. And The Undertaker is not the superstar, the main guy. And Cena basically is not the main guy or the superstar he was from last year because he's been off in Hollywood.
Right.
So it's kind of a dead thing. Now, if you want to bring The Undertaker and you say you have a short match with Sting, something people might bite at. If you want to have The Undertaker and a short match with Hulk Hogan, that's something people haven't seen. If you have The Undertaker against The Rock, Now you have something they haven't seen. But you have to give somebody, you have to be able to have somebody in there who can wrestle and carry the Undertaker. Not saying that the Undertaker can't carry himself, but he's not in wrestling shape and he doesn't have that. He's not in wrestling form. Will it draw money, whatever he's in? Yes. Will people pay to see it? Yes. Is there the possibility that they can be disappointed? Absolutely. But you have to put him in the right situation with the right person with this right thing. Doing a 7 to 10 minute match, I could see that. Doing a 25-minute match, you're definitely not going to have it. It's going to fall. But guys out there, if you have your pick of what's going to go, you have The Rock, you have Cena, you have Sting, right? You have Hogan, You got a bunch of choices, but you have to make it to where it's going to be equal footing, equal ground, short match. If the Undertaker is going to win and he's going to go off into the sunset, great. Does he have anything to prove? Absolutely not. Is it a money thing? Well, when he goes into WrestleMania, he makes $1 million. So, I mean, it is worth it to say, okay, I'm going to put some Band-Aids on and do it.
Yeah,
and it was
get the shot for the pain relief to handle the pain like he did for WrestleMania 33, and they cut out the footage on WWE 24 of him getting the injections.
I'm telling you, just like your table shot when you needed to take a flat bump and you went flopping all over the place like a fish out of water. I mean, but afterwards you were okay, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I appreciated it.
I went to the local medical facility, and they pronounced me dead, but then they transferred me to a better one, and they pronounced me alive. My condition was upgraded to alive, and I walked out, and I'm okay.
You look jacked, I'm telling you. You look friggin' buff as hell.
Oh, well, thank you.
I like it.
I appreciate that.
Can I throw something out there real quick?
Yes.
So, thinking about it as we're talking about it, instead of having Undertaker have a match, if Roman is in his match, what if Taker came out, tombstone Roman's opponent, pointed at Roman, and said, pin him? It's your yard.
Interesting.
Why? Wouldn't Undertaker be mad because it's his yard? Why would he need Roman's help? I would say the Undertaker come back and screw Roman. That's the only way I want to see Taker in there. But saying why would he help Roman Reigns? That doesn't just screw Roman over. Oh yeah, you beat me last year. I got this for you. Now I'm going to retire.
Yeah,
makes heat.
Yeah.
Well, I have an interesting take on how I think they could get to Cena and Undertaker WrestleMania. And I guess I'll say it now, exclusive. This is before our Elimination Chamber preview. In case I can't make it, Aaron.
Okay.
So if the Elimination Chamber match comes down to Roman Reigns and John Cena.
Right.
Everybody else is eliminated. Sorry, Elias. You get the last pod that opens and you lose in 2 minutes. I hope not.
I think it's
Let's
gonna
just
happen.
play
Sorry, man.
cliche as this is. If they're going to do Undertaker and Cena, because remember, Undertaker lost against Lesnar the first time that he was booked to lose at WrestleMania in New Orleans, and that's where they're going to be. Have the lights go out, and when they come back on, it's Undertaker in the ring, or come up through, whatever gimmick they want to do. You have Roman, Cena, and Taker standing in the middle, but instead of going for Roman, which you would expect, he does something to Cena, which allows Roman to get to the main event. That sets up Cena Taker. And look, why not? I mean, if WWE is going to get there, how are they going to do it?
Well,
have
I
him show up on Raw?
I think the most likely thing is, a couple weeks ago, it was rumored that Undertaker was going to come out, do his promo, and then Cena was going to come out and challenge him for WrestleMania. I still think that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen on Raw, where Undertaker will come out and Cena will just challenge him, and that'll be that. And I think you guys brought up earlier Hogan and Rock from WrestleMania 18. They might try to recreate that whole dynamic with having the two of them just stare at each other and look back and forth at the crowd and that sort of thing. That's what I think is going to happen. People have talked about the idea of maybe Roman Reigns and John Cena, the last two. Undertaker comes out. Maybe Undertaker confronts Roman Reigns and Cena gets mad about Undertaker interfering, and then that just sets off Undertaker and Cena go at it. So that could be what happens. But my opinion on it, I think it should have been done years ago. It was one of those dream match scenarios for WrestleMania, but I think it would have been most effective like 2014 when Undertaker still had the streak intact. I think that would have been a really interesting match with Undertaker and Cena. I always said like they should have done like a submission match at WrestleMania with the streak on the line because John Cena doesn't give up. That would have been really intriguing. Now I think it's too late, but the only good thing I could see coming out of this is maybe Undertaker beats Cena at WrestleMania and gets his happy ending instead of the sad ending we saw last year. So Undertaker can go out on top, like Vito said, off into the sunset on a positive note. That's how I see it. Otherwise, I don't see the point of the match.
Season, man. We got to talk about Undertaker. It's WrestleMania season because one day we won't. So with that said, let's open the floor to, does anybody want to talk about anything randomly on NoDQForums.com, or are we just ready to close this thing up and do our plugs? Floor's open.
Anything you got to say to the masses?
I got a lot to say. Now, to all of the No DQ panel group here, these are my boys. This is my girl right here, and we all get along and we're all good. We do this to entertain everybody here, and we'll have a good rapport and respect for each other. Now, as far as the chat room goes, I have a good time with that, and nobody's being, vicious or malicious to anybody, and you're not supposed to take anything to heart. It's all in good fun.
Right.
I am the only wrestler or pro who actually goes in there and interacts with all the fans, just like I do on this. I don't get paid to do this. I do this for my enjoyment. I do this as fun. These guys, they're good people. We're doing something cool. It's innovative. You know what I mean? It's different. And you know what? We're bringing something to the table. When you guys get butthurt and you want to troll, it's all fun and games up until you get personal.
Right.
And then when you talk about somebody's dead mother, or you talk about somebody's handicapped wife, like some of you have done to me, let me tell you, you're not only hurting me by saying this, you're hurting these people here on the panel because I'm afraid I'm going to say, you know what, F you guys, I don't want to be part of this. You're a bunch of marks and show them disrespect, but they don't treat me like that, so I would never do that to them. But to the 39,000 people that are in this chat room, you want to insult me, you want to talk about wearing a dress, hey, that's all fine. You want to talk about my mother, hey, my mother this or whatever, that's cool. You want to talk about me being a jobber or I'm underneath. But remember something, guys. When you talk about somebody's handicapped wife who can't walk, she's half blind, she deals with migraine, she had a stroke last year, and you want to make stroke jokes, I think you're pathetic. And if it was something that you did in front of me instead of your keyboard, right, I really would slap the shit out of you. I would slap your teeth so hard your mother would feel and her teeth would come out. And I'm not joking, I'm not playing. If anybody thinks like it's a joke, it's not. And when you hurt my wife's feelings or you go against my family, just like these guys here, we're all human beings. We're not animals, and there's nothing malicious in this chat room. But because you get butthurt, because you're sitting behind your computer in your mom's basement eating, tacos, guys, be human beings. Be real. I'm a real person. I have real feelings. I have a real life. This persona you think it is, oh, Vito wears a dress, and Vito does this, and I did everything that you guys wish you can do in the wrestling business. I've been in the ring with every superstar. I've made it to the top of the food chain, and I started out at the bottom. I've been around the world. I've been in every major promotion. I've been a world champion. I've been a champion at every level. So, guys, show some respect, because I show the same courtesy to everybody in the chat and everybody here, but show some to me and my wife, because we don't deserve that. My poor wife doesn't need to be insulted by somebody who wants to get at me. You want to get at me? Call me names. But if you ever want to go one-on-one with me, I will put on a dress and I will embarrass you. And then you're going to say, I fought this guy in a dress. Did you win? No, I got the shit kicked out of me by a guy wearing a dress.
Damn straight.
Yep.
Well
and
said,
that is
Vito.
pretty embarrassing. And when I did wear a dress from a year, and when people used to come out, you look like a fag, you look in your dress. I said, yeah. And this happened plenty. I said, how would you like to get the shit beat out of you by a guy wearing a dress in front of all these people? Now get up, pay my bill, and leave.
Yeah, like
What do you think happened, guys?
yeah, well,
I got a free meal, and
like
they
Roddy
left.
Piper said, you're tough enough to wear it.
You're tough enough to wear it, and you want to think twice about messing with a man who has a family, who has a wife and children, and has been respected in this business. And I'm going to tell another thing. If the toughest guys in the wrestling business, there are a lot of guys who have promos and shoot things and everything out there, guys, listen to this. For all the guys out there, and I've said this numerous amount of times, anybody who ever got butthurt, who thought I was an ass, who didn't like me or anything, I always said the same thing. How come you didn't kick my ass when you wrestled me? There's a reason. What happened? And if you're still butthurt over 20 years ago, I made a great impact on your life. Thank you for keeping me relevant. I'm glad I'm still a memory in your life. And if ever the day you're man enough to come see me, I'm not hard to find. If you'd like to insult me and insult my wife, feel free to come to my front door. I'm sure you won't leave the same way you came.
Yeah, exactly. And these people,
And you know what?
yeah, what I was trying to say is like, these people need to realize they shouldn't be saying stuff that they wouldn't say to the person face to face. If you can't say it to their face, don't say it online, period. It's one thing to just have fun and do the harmless trolling, but when you start making personal attacks on people, it just shows how pathetic you are, like Vito said.
Guys, the best one was Brett Nichols, guy who came back in. He's a new member. He went in another chat room. And he spoke about Aaron, spoke about David, spoke about the group, spoke about all the stuff, spoke about me. Okay, you want to go in other chat rooms and speak, but then you want to come back in here and you want to be a troll. So if you're going to talk shade all the way and stay away. There was another guy, Jay Smith, and another guy, Castro, who want to talk all this stuff. Exactly. Give him the lube, okay? But you want to talk about all this stuff and you want to go in other chats and you want to talk bad, okay, then stay out of the group. Stop begging to come back. But when you talk about Aaron and Jexy and David and Vito and my wife and the 39,000 people who you call jerk-offs, why you want to be here?
Yeah, exactly.
Well said, Vito. And I'm telling you, man, this is the team. And we have the Troll Patrol out now. And, hey, for everybody that wants to beat Vito for Troll of the Month, that doesn't mean you have to go to personal attacks. It means you got to be clever. You got to bring up wrestling, bring up his career. He was having fun with stuff like that. So don't think you won by getting personal.
That ain't going to get you there.
Because in reality, we got the Troll Patrol out. And we want to make that NoDQForums.com the greatest place to chat about wrestling. And can you have a little fun? Absolutely. We're not trying to take the fun away. We're trying to make it more fun.
Yes.
So, Vito, well said, as always. With that said, it's closing time. Aaron's going to start singing.
Nope.
No, go ahead, Jexy. Take it away.
Yep. First and foremost, be like Thumper. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yep.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jexy Rocks, rocking my brand new DX 25-year anniversary shirt,
Very
styling,
nice.
profiling. You want a no DQ shirt of your own? Go to ProWrestlingTees.com. Type in no DQ, pick one up, do it up.
And the beanies are coming soon.
Hey, Vito, did you get your no DQ beanie?
I did not wear my beanie or my no DQ shirt because in protest of the trolls that were in the room tonight. I had it on and my wife said to me, you should do a protest. I said, okay, I'll do your protest. But I did have it on. I did rock it. I went and changed it. But it will be on next week, and it was just a protest, guys. I wear all that stuff. I'm a company guy. I'm a team guy. I had the beanie on. I had the shirt on. That's how I come to do my job here. And like I said, we're all a team. Next week, I'll have the beanie and the shirt on, like always. And this week, I put the no DQ collar. I wore my gangster hat because I was ready to mess some people up and go, 917 on people. You know what I'm saying?
I hear
But
you,
hey,
man.
you're such a professional. You did this like you always do, and that's awesome. So, I know you got a bunch of plugs, man. What do you want to say?
Well, I'd like to say, check out the No DQ merch. Everybody go to ProWrestlingTees.com and go get yourself some No DQ merch. The beanies are cool. Shirts are nice. Jexy's are wearing a Generation X there. Oh, goody. Anyway, how come? Yeah, exactly. All this and now she'll probably do that, but it's okay. And what does Pete Dunne do? He does something like this, or I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Pete Dunne. Anyway, go to the bigvito.com. That's the website, guys. Got a lot of good stuff happening there. Go to the YouTube channel, the Big Vito brand. Go to YouTube. To go to Twitter, at the Big Vito brand. Check us out on Facebook at the Big Vito brand. We have Tuesday and Thursday nights. We have our Q&As, and Spilling Tea with Teen Moms with Noelle. We have Getting Color and that show on Podcast One with the Russo brand. We have a good brand going here. And I got a question. Aaron, I thought we were tight. And here you are talking to Jexy 2 or 3 times a week, and you got her on the show as a guest commentator and shit. But I thought we were I thought we were down like 2 flat tires. What happened to us?
We're all equal as far as I'm concerned. We're all a team.
No, because Jexy. Oh, I was talking to Jexy this week, and everything was just lovely with our tea and crumpets.
Well, she doesn't go on Facebook, so got to reach out to her another way.
Is that I noticed you don't go on social media much. Why is that until late night?
Who, me or Jexy?
No, Jexy.
Jexy knows better. She knows the trolls are there.
Yeah, that's when they're all coming out to play.
Yeah.
Oh, so that means I got to troll you and your mom and I can annoy you.
Oh, I added Jexy's mom and her brother onto the Facebook group too, so they're in there also.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
They are.
Nice.
So I'm just recruiting everybody in there, so we're gonna take over the place and get rid of all the trolls.
Hot picks coming.
I might be on Jexy's bad list now for adding her mom and brother to the group now. Because everybody knows. If anybody starts trolling Jexy's family members, you're in big trouble, and you're already in big trouble for messing with Vito. So you guys need to watch your P's and Q's. And
it's going to be done with love, much love.
Yes, show respect to the NoDQ family. That goes out to Big Vito and his wife, and Jexy and her family. And Virtue,
that's right.
Everybody else.
Show the love.
Show the love and show the respect. And check out bigvito.com. Check out NoDQ.com, of course, at Aaron Rift on all social media. Maybe I'll put myself through another table one of these days and do a better job of it, but time will tell with that. Virtue, anything else?
Nope. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. So for Jexy, for Big Vito, for Aaron Rift, I am Virtue. We'll see you next time.